Okay, and I'd like to give you kind of 4 steps in what I've identified from doing these, if you like, this gap analysis, these health checks that we've done. So try to simplify it, and I'll take you through these steps. Step 1, as kind of hinted before at the end of the last one, was you really have to ask the question, but you need to want to know. You need to want to know what you're going to actually get when you ask this question. Okay, we have worked with some people that have said, I want to know. Okay, do you really want to know? Yeah, I want to know. Okay, we'll go and find out stuff, and we'll tell you what it looks like. So you then take the stuff back to them. That's what it looks like. I didn't want to know. Didn't want to know that. I wanted to know this. Yeah. But when we do get a really, really good response, and when they really do want to know, the results can be outstanding. It really is opportunity land. But you can only make fully informed decisions if you're fully informed. So this really is the step 1, this want to need to know, because you cannot make any decisions about going forward unless you really know what it's like, what it's really like in your organization. So step 2 is the reality check. And I spoke about this consensus before, okay, in the first talk. I don't want anyone to get hurt, yeah? So the guy at the top of the company, or girl at the top of the company is saying this, I don't want anyone to get hurt, and they really mean it, again, because why would they not mean this? And the person that's doing the work, and at risk of injury, says, I don't want to get hurt either, yeah? So again, we have this agreement. We also have this agreement as well. I want you to get the job done. And actually, most people do want to get the job done, yeah, to a certain extent, unless it's really, really dysfunctional and they're doing all these other things. But let's just imagine most people do actually want to get the job done, okay? So again, 2 areas of agreement that we have. But then something happens, and something moves in between this, and we call that the safety guy, all right? Now I can say that because I used to be a safety guy, right? Okay. So now this is, well, I want you to fill in a bit of paper every time you do a task, okay? Well, hang on. I want you to get the job done, and I want to get the job done, okay? Oh, and by the way, I want you to tell me every time you cut your finger and every time you bump or bruise your leg. Oh, hang on, now I'm starting to think, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to get the job done? I definitely don't want to get hurt, or do you want me to fill all this bits of paper and all this kind of stuff? So the virtual world is starting to come into the real world. And the guy at risk is now thinking, whoa, hang on. But it gets worse. This gap, if you like, between this disparity in the message between the virtual world and the real world. And then management creep in. And my budget is spent. So you can't have that tool you need to do the job. You can't have what you're asking for to do the job. So this guy's now even more thinking, hang on a minute. You'll just have to make do with what you've got. Yeah, just make do in what you've got, make do and mend. We haven't got any money left. We need to cut costs. Yeah, my budget is spent. So you hear these things in this middle management, but the guy at the top's still saying, I want you to get the job done, and I don't want you to get hurt. The guy at the work face, what's going on here? There's this disconnect. If only it was this simple, okay? So we've got the worker here, the guy at most risk. We've got a supervisor, the manager, the senior manager and the director, vice president, whatever you want to call it, okay? And we say that, okay, this guy's behavior here, his guy's behavior is influenced by his environment, and the person that creates his environment, her environment is the supervisor, and then the person that creates their environment is the manager, and then it's the senior manager, and then it's director. So the answer is simple then. Get consistency down the chain, yeah? But it's not this simple. What you've got is all these other factors that are impacting on these environments, yeah, right the way down the chain. And it goes on, and on, and on, and on, and on, till you finally get the director going and visiting the site as well, yeah. What is really going on at the workplace? What are all, Rachel spoke about all these distractions that then lead to to extinction. Yep, all these other things that are going on, if there's too many things that are going on, what are the chances that the person at the workplace will do the right thing at the right time when you want them to do it, if there's all these other pressures on them for doing the job, all these other distractions? So what is it really like at the workplace? That is step two. Step two is the reality check of going out and finding what it's like at the workplace. And you have to go and observe, you have to go and speak, and you have to go and work out what it's like. And when you first ask this, people will not tell you the truth. What works and what doesn't. So you will have some things in your organization that really, really do work, and some things won't. But there's a level of warning with that as well, because actually we can get the daftest things to work sometimes. Yeah, I've seen people really believe that ticking a bit of paper makes them safe. Yeah, and they literally are ticking a box. Okay, do those safe start checklists really work for you? Yeah. Okay, I'll ask you again. Do they say what makes you safe? Is it the tools you've got, or is it the bit of paper? Okay, it's the tools, and it's the time, and it's all this. Okay, so even when you ask first, yeah, you've got to probe and probe a bit more to find out what really works and what doesn't. But you can see it. You can see it when you go and look what works and what doesn't. Is what's being asked likely to happen? Okay, now, what I mean by here is give the person the best chance of doing the job. Okay, so if all you do is think about it in those terms. So we've got some construction people in the audience. Think about excavations, and we all know that excavation has to be supported, if you like. So for that person to probably support the excavation with some shoring and what have you, would it not be a better chance of him doing that if the shoring was there when he needed it instead of locked away in the container 2 miles up the line? Yeah. Give him the best chance of doing the job by putting the right stuff when he needs it at the right time. That's what can make it likely to happen. And the answer is definitely out there when you go and look, when you do this reality check. But not only that, is the people that are working in the organizations actually know how to do the right thing. And what we need to do is speak to them like adults and actually sit down with them and say, okay, what do you actually need to do the right job? The answer is definitely out there within the organizations. And realize that it's definitely not simple, okay? This thing is definitely not simple. It's definitely not as easy as just dictating, of just suggesting, of just demanding the success. At first, there will be delusion. They definitely will. There will be the belief that everything is okay, because we've trained them to say that everything's okay for however many years that they've been there in the past. You've got to ask, you've got to really get in there and find out what the truth is. There's a reason for every single behavior out there. And we've already heard that today. But there is a reason for every single behavior that happens out there. So the behaviors you're getting just now are fully supported by you. Yeah? We say created, yeah? So the environment is created by the leader. If you're not the leader, maybe you're supporting it. Maybe you're reinforcing it in some way. Is that not creating it as well, though? There's definitely something in there to do with you. If you're part of the environment and these behaviors are happening, you are supporting this version of reality. So there's kind of an acceptance thing when you do this, that you've got to be ready to accept that it's going to involve you as well. So step 3, do something about it. Oh, it sounds simple, yeah, just do something about it. So what does it take to do the job? So again, it's all about real. This is taking it back from virtual to real, okay? What does it actually take to do the job? What and who gets in the way of the job? Okay, what kind of things are actually getting in the way of the guy, the girl doing the actual work that they're meant to be doing? Remove the obstacles. Now, by obstacles, what I mean there is by remove the things that make it less likely that they'll do the right thing. Okay, so give them the right tools and equipment to do the job. Yeah. Remove the amount of behaviors that actually are involved in the job. We've toyed with the idea in the BMT Fed of a behavioral risk assessment. If you think about it, the more behaviors that are involved in a task, the more choices that have to be made, the more actual then risk there is that the wrong choice will be made. If you can limit the amount of choices by providing the right piece of equipment to then use at the right time, then you've already given that choice. Yeah. If you went out for a meal last night, you looked at the menu, you could only have what was on that menu. You couldn't choose anything else off a different menu. There was no different menu. Your choices were guided, your choices were limited. There was no menu at today's lunch. Yeah? Your choices were guided, your choices were limited. Behaviorally, you can do that. Take a scientific approach It's really good to write down what you expected to happen if you've had an injury. Yeah. So if you've had a worker injured and you're going, okay, well, I expected them to do this, and I expected to do this, and I expected to do this, and I expected to do this. Right, okay. Do a behavioral assessment, a consequence analysis on the actual behaviors that you expected to happen. And you'll soon work out that they weren't likely to happen, okay? By fact that they didn't happen. But then you can work out why they didn't happen as well. So take a scientific approach. You can even do that before the injury happens, because you can do it on the behaviors that are specified in the process that is meant to happen. Okay, we expect him or her to do this at this point. We expect him to do that at this point. Does the consequence analysis say that it's likely to happen or not? So you can even preempt the injury if you use a scientific approach. Step 4, the last step, maintain it. Maintain the conditions for success, okay? So you've got this thing that you've created now. You've done step 1, you've asked, done step 2, the reality check, yeah? But you've still got to maintain this environment. But you've got to consistently check the message as well. So you've got to go back round. This isn't a one-step process. This isn't do it once and it's fixed. This is continually go back down and visit and figure out what's going on. Figure out what it looks like and have proper observation, proper looking at what's going on in the workplace, yeah? And working its way back up the chain. And continue to support this environment. We've heard this before today as well. Continue to nurture that environment and support the right environment for the workers. So to create the conditions for success, to close this gap, step 1, you need to want to know. Step 2 is the reality check. Get down and dirty and go and check and go and see what it's like. Do something about it. And then maintain it. Now the thing with this as well though, is if you only do one of these, you'll not close the gap. You have to do all 4 and you have to keep on doing all 4 as well. So only doing one of these will not get you the conditions for success. Thank you.